So, Four Roses, one of the primary distillers in the game, been around forever, but one of the few that has so many complex mash bills. What do all the letters mean? Are they any good? Which ones might we like? Stick around. All right, guys. So tonight we're going to discuss Four Roses. One of the members had brought up a question. You know, what are all the different mash bills, and what do they mean, and what's the differences between them, and how do I determine which one I should buy? Um, Tonight we're going to discuss that. So um, we'll start with going through just the mash bills. So you've got mash bill B, and you've got mash bill E. The only difference between the two really is the amount of rye. So mash bill B is going to be 60% corn, 35% rye, 5% barley. Mash bill E is going to be 75% corn, so they increase the corn to offset the reduction in rye, and the rye will be at 20%. Barley stays at the 5%. But then you get into the yeast strains, right? And this gives you all the different notes that you're going to pick up aside from the amount of rye there that you have in the corn. Um, so you have V, which is delicate fruit, K, which is a slight spice. You have O, which is a rich fruit. And you have Q, which is the floral essence. F is going to be a herbal note. So when we look at the bottle as a whole, really and truly, like if you're talking, let's just say OESV, that first letter is always going to stay the same. It is showing that it's the Four Roses Distillery. Then the letter E, which is what we just talked about, that's your mash bill. So is it the E mash bill or the B mash bill? Is it high rye or lower rye? And then you have the letter S, which is always designated and stays the same, just letting you know that it's a straight whiskey. And then you have the last letter, which identifies the proprietary yeast strain, and it creates the unique flavors, which in this case we would be talking about the V, correct? So tonight, what we're going to do, just because there's so many of them, limited time, don't want to bore you to death. We're going to go through um, the OBs, and we'll rank them. We'll do another video later. We'll go through the OEs. We'll rank them, and then finally we'll do a third, and we'll discuss our top two from each category, and let you know what we think might be the better pick by our choice. Um, just to talk a little bit about what they are before we sample them. The OBSV is going to be a delicate fruit and a rye. The OBSK is going to be a rye and a bacon spice, and we'll revisit that as we go through the samples. OBSO is going to be a more of a rich fruit, and then the OBSQ is going to be a rye and a light floral character. OBSF is going to be a delicate rye and have that mint that you typically will get with some of your ryes. So the first one that we'll try will be the OBSF. But first I want to ask Jeff a little bit, because he's been doing this a lot longer than I have. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Four Roses. I have had some of their barrel proof, barrel strength whiskeys. Never really paid attention to the mash bill. What I can say is what I've tried, I've liked. But Jeff, over the years, I'm sure you've tried a lot more Four Roses than I have. What are your overall thoughts, and have you ever paid attention to all these complex mash bills?
Well, I have enjoyed lots of Four Roses in different forms and found that their higher expressions tend to be the tastier ones, the ones that are worth finding. But the reason we're talking about all these recipes and variations is that uh, there are many ways to find a flavor profile within their product line that you might vibe with. And that's what's cool about this. And it's based on the variations in the mash bill and then the variations within mash bill on the yeast strain that's applied. So I tend to like things that are a little bit more intense. Uh, I really like the fruity ones. You have to learn to grab the bottle off the shelf. When you walk into a typical liquor store, they're going to have Four Roses single barrel select. or something like that.
Right.
And you're going to have to pick it up off the shelf and look. And there's a designation on the label that lets you know what is the Four Roses code. And then look at the Four Roses codes, look them up. Make sure you know which ones you like the flavor profiles of. Maybe what your particular liquor store is carrying isn't one of the mash bills that you really like, or one of the flavor profiles that you really care for. So
True.
it's pretty cool that we have that tool and the ability to experiment with really good product, because they're well known for their quality and their flavor.
And
But like,
speaking to that, with with going in the different liquor stores, one thing that I kind of hate we don't see more of are these sample kits. Like, I looked forever for this thing, and I knew I was going to the distillery, so I was like, when I get there, I'll pick it up. And when we did the Georgia hunt, man, I must have run across a dozen of them, and all different price ranges. But typically it's about $99 for the sample kit, and it gives you a couple ounces of each, which is going to benefit you and I really well tonight.
right. And it's really cool to be able to compare them. But then the challenge comes on, because you might be finding the particular expression of Four Roses that you like, and then going, nope, not that expression, not that code, not that code, not that code.
Right.
And it becomes a nugget hunt again.
True.
And then buy it when you find it,
Yeah.
because you might not find it for a while.
Maybe even get a backup if it's affordable. Yes. Well, if you want, Jeff, we'll go ahead and we'll get into the OBSV, which is going to be the more rye and delicate fruit, and we'll kind of see what we think of that, and we'll rank that, how we nose it, what it's like on the palate, what the finish is like on it, and give it an overall ranking. And then we'll come back and hopefully have a top two at the end.
Sounds good.
All right. So there again, OBSV, delicate fruit, rye. Doesn't have a real high viscosity. I'm not seeing much on legs.
Nope.
And these have been poured for maybe 5 minutes or so not a long time, but
And it's a lighter color too.
it is.
So you approach it thinking this is going to be lighter, for sure. Nice on the nose.
We're cheating there with a little bit with the codes and knowing what they are, but I'm definitely getting the fruit. It's got a little ethanol on it if you get up high on the glass, but if you stay down low, pick up that fruit. It's sweeter.
So the fruit hits you first, and then it fades more into the rye. But it's really a bright, fresh, fruity nose. I like it.
Let's check it out. Cheers.
Cheers.
So I had a hug on the backside,
Mm-hmm.
but I was pretty shocked because I felt like it looked fairly thin, but it has that oily mouth coating that I like. Maybe not as much as some, but it's there, and you can definitely pick up on the different fruits. First sip of the day too, so
I think that fruit rushes in, makes that first impression. It's got not a light burn, not a medium burn, but somewhere in between.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a strong ethanol smell to it or anything like that.
Strong. You could pick it up on the top of the glass, but not real strong. Felt like it hit the front of my tongue a little sour, and then it come on more fruity and sweet towards the backside, and it coated the mouth really nice. I kind of like the mouthfeel on it.
Yep. That's one of the things that's different between different pours, is the nose isn't always representative of the taste. But here, I feel like what the nose promised, the tongue fulfilled.
I agree.
So there's a lot of fruit and rye.
Wasn't a very long finish for me.
No.
I'd like a little longer finish out of it. I think I'm gonna leave that last little sip there because I might come back to that and have to compare it. So funny after you You've coated the glass. You've had a few sips. I'm thinking picking up even a little bit of tobacco on it, which is something I like. So the next one is a OBSK. So OBSK is a rye with a baking spice. So when I think baking spice, I think cinnamon and that type of thing. So with rye, I'm thinking hot sauce, tingly on your tongue, like a little. I didn't get a lot of rye off of that one, if I'm being honest. That brutal punch in the face from rye. So
And dark chocolate. I think rye leans into the dark chocolate.
you can absolutely. So with this one, I'm wondering if it might not be a little less sweet, but
Same thing, lighter color, no really strong legs or anything like that. Light consistency.
agreed. It's similar on the nose, but as compared to two, it has a little bit more body on the nose.
Yeah,
Hard for me to explain what I mean by that, but it just
almost bready, but
yeah,
light bread, not
yeah,
rye bread.
correct.
But the rye comes on as you experience it. So,
Oh man.
but it's a light rye.
So I didn't get the sour up front that I got from the other. I got a lot of tobacco. Not nearly as oily as the other one, but a nice mouthfeel.
Leather.
Yes, not nearly as sweet, right? Like definitely leathery on the backside. It's good.
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, that's lending itself more towards what I typically like in a whiskey.
Hmm.
And it does have a good bit, which is the same rye mash bill, but I feel like it has more of that rye hanging around on the finish.
Also, the finish is a little bit longer than the first one, but
It is.
still not long, but not bad.
The thing I found that hung around the most was that tingling of the rye, like a hot sauce would leave you, which I don't mind.
So far, between those two, it's another case of I like one more than the other in terms of its components, but either one is good.
Correct. Correct. Um, I think I lend a little bit more towards the OBSK, but I wouldn't turn down either one of them if somebody had it on their bar, right?
So far, I'd say the OBSV because I like fruit.
Okay.
I can appreciate the K. I would drink it, no objections.
Sure.
Not telling people not to drink it or anything like that. Just if I had to pick right now.
And I'm just right the opposite of you. If I had to pick, I'd pick the K. But if you offered me either one, I'd definitely drink it, no problem.
Yeah.
So OBSO is our next one, which you would think
Rich fruit.
you might end up liking because it says rich fruit. So let's give that one a whirl and just see.
Again, light color, not long legs. Um,
It's similar to the first one.
Even though the first one on the nose,
this one has no ethanol on the nose. It's just pure goodness.
this is like apple on the nose to me.
That's what I was thinking too. Maybe even Granny Smith type. I get a little sour on the bottom of the glass.
Yeah.
I'm picking up on just a little bit of some type of dark sugars. Maybe, I don't know, maybe brown sugar. Maybe, I don't think cinnamon, but.
Right. That's what I was pondering. Probably not cinnamon quite, but dark sugar.
Oh man. Okay. So it didn't smell to have any ethanol, but it had just a touch, just enough for me to like it.
Smooth.
It's very smooth. I'd say the finish is a little longer on that one too. It might still be lingering on me. And overall ranking so far, I think I've ranked this one the highest of total score.
It's smoother than the first two.
Mm-hmm. Has a nice mouthfeel to it.
It doesn't burn as much as the first two.
You can catch the rye mid palate. That's unique. I like that.
But
Sweet, man. The finish is sweet. It's not like a huge sweetness, but it's just like a light sweetness just sitting there at the end. And it stays.
but there's something in this one. By the time I get to the tail, that I don't like as much.
You're not liking, okay?
And I like fruity, but this one,
I don't
there's
think it's fruit on the
something
backside,
going on the backside. It's not leaving me as happy as I'd like to be
Okay.
as the others.
Okay. Okay, so OBSQ is going to be rye and light floral character. I don't know that floral is something that I typically go for.
4 Roses, though.
Right? Yeah, right. Hits the name. So yeah, OBSQ, light floral, again with the rye. Similar nose. It's lighter on the ethanol side.
Sweet nose.
Man, it's smooth.
Powdered sugar.
Medium. It's not very long on the finish. Had a nice mouthfeel.
Medium burn.
Felt like it had a little less hug.
Yeah, the rye character on this one is stronger.
It is mid palate.
I'm recognizing rye without a doubt. Rye is noticeable.
I felt like it was more noticeable when I went back to the O. You'll have to do that and see. As of right now, that Q is leading for me.
The thing that strikes me about this the most is the rye.
Okay.
The rye is the dominating character in this one to me. Supposed to have floral character.
I'm not getting that. That's just me.
Nothing is blowing me away about a floral character.
Mm-mm.
It would be a strong rose smell or something like that if to compare it to, but it's more just a rye taste. And if you like rye, you probably like this. It's a good character rye.
So after having 2 sips of it and putting it to the side of my nose, it does have a little bit of a, maybe like a bouquet of flower type of like.
Little legs.
I know, I'm seeing them hanging around on all of these glasses, which that
impresses
me.
On the nose, I'm picking up floral.
I didn't get it on the palate.
Mm-mm.
So the last one that we're trying tonight is going to be the OBSF, which is a delicate rye and mint. Right off the bat, just hearing it doesn't sound like something I really would like. So
Same here.
I'm intrigued to try it and see, might it be the one for me, right? And I just maybe don't know myself as well as I think I do.
Well, I gotta say, when I'm reading reviews or I'm hearing reviews on video and I hear flavor components of mint, that's one of the things that I'm not so hot about.
Checking out. That's right.
Yeah, even though I like mint, I'm happy.
In certain aspects, right? Yeah.
Happy to make a good
mint julep.
Mint julep, yeah, love it with
right.
fresh mint.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that. So
and
it's not
like a mojito.
But I'm not looking for mint in my whiskey.
Well,
if it's there, I guess it's okay. If it doesn't blow me away.
Although we're cheating, I know we are because we have that. I definitely get it on the nose.
I do too. And it's pleasant.
It is.
I'm going to say pleasant mint. I think that's fair.
Say, like a nice mint chewing gum, kind of like in the pack still unchewed, like
almost
sweet.
There's some juicy fruit in there, hiding behind the mint.
I can get that when I get far to the side.
Huh.
I wish I could remember the one that I had the other day that I picked that up on, because that was the first time I picked up anything like that. I'd like to play a psychological session on somebody and just start naming things and see what people pick up, because I think sometimes when you hear it or see it or read it, you look for it and you find it, right? But when you don't know, it's almost like you don't know what to look for and you can't name it.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, right now, pleasant mint with juicy fruit behind it.
I'm right there with you on that.
Those are the two things that strike me about the nose.
So I get the mid palate, and it's heavy on the rye, and it says light rye, delicate rye, and maybe that's delicate, but it's there like through the whole. It's maybe it doesn't hit as hard, but it's there. It's spicy, but it is minty.
This has a stronger rye, maybe, than any of the others.
Go back to the second and third and let me know, because I really feel like I felt like the O had the strongest to me, but that's just me. It does have rye. I mean, it's there. It has a little hug on the backside. It's probably gonna be my least favorite.
Yeah. This would be my least favorite. It's easy to decide that. It's not a bad product. It's just not my flavor profile. And it's supposed to say delicate rye, and it seems like it's a strong rye to me.
We've kind of warmed up on
and
the
it's
rye,
not as strong as ryes in other distillers.
right.
There's much stronger ryes out there.
Yeah, when you talk about a high rye bourbon there or something.
But this one comes at you more than doesn't really fit delicate. Delicate's not a good description to me on that.
For me right now, the OBSO, and the OBSQ. The OBSQ is my top one, and then the OBSO is right behind it. Say I dislike any of them, the OBSF would be the one that I probably would not go after.
OBSF,
if
I gotta say I dislike.
Honest, that's the one that if you offered it to me, I'd probably say what else you got on the bar. The other four, OBSF, OBSK, the OBSO and Q. But right now, the OBSO and OBSQ. The OBSK is a little light. It's got a nice hug on the backside. It's got that tobacco I like. I mean, it's right there, but I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to say OBSQ for me is number one, and OBSO is number two. So
I'm going to go the OBSV with my number one.
Really? So
I revisited.
It up on me. Okay.
The only thing I have against it is the finish should be longer.
I agree.
But it's a very pleasant sip.
Okay.
And I like how it feels in my mouth. It's good flavor, good and fruity. Number two, I like the fact that it's more of a winter taste, and it's a good winter taste. I'd be thinking about that depending on the time of year. If you gave it to me in the middle of summer,
right,
I'd enjoy it, but I'd still think this will be better in the winter.
Okay.
Because it's more of the flavors that you relate to seasonally, in my opinion. But it's great. It's good either way. Then the OBSQ is pretty close to number two, the OBSK, to me in its own way. It's more closely related to the OBSV, but when I have to weigh it out, and it'd almost be like my number one I feel comfortable with is OBSV.
Okay.
But my number two is really kind of a tie between OBSK and OBSQ. I'd be happy with either one, but they don't push to the front of the line.
I think what we might do there then, since they're so close for you, is when we get ready to do the third battle of our top twos in each OBE and OBs and the OEs. Maybe before session, maybe you take those two, try them, the K and the Q, and then you decide that night, this is my number 2 right here, and this is the one I'm going to try tonight.
Sure.
Because we'll have OBS SQ on the table because it's my number 1. So we'll have that on the table to talk about, but it won't be on your palate unless you choose it. So
okay,
we can do that.
And that's the whiskey thing. It's different night, different flavors.
Absolutely.
Different components, different happiness.
That's right. So guys, there you have it. That's our thoughts on the OBs. Be sure to like, share, click the notification button there so you'll get updates on our new footage when it comes out. And until next time, you guys just keep it brutally honest.